Hello everyone, welcome to Cashcroft TV. My name is Kalen Ashcroft. Thank you very much for watching and or listening to this episode of Ages of Empires, where we'll be going through all the major world empires throughout history. In this episode we will be covering the Zulu Empire and the Sikh Empire, so two also very fascinating empires from the South African, or South Africa specifically, and Indian subcontinent respectively. As well, from each empire we will highlight a specific leader. So from the Zulu Empire we will highlight the famous Shaka Zulu, and from the Sikh Empire we'll highlight Maharaja Ranjit Singh, also very famous and very important as well. And at the end, in the style of Plutarch's Parallel Lives, we will have a comparison between the two leaders to hopefully learn more about the two leaders and as well their respective empires through their differences and similarities. So with regards to the first empire, the Zulu Empire. So the Zulu Empire, is known particularly for its formidable prowess and military prowess specifically, and significant role in South African history, and still has a large influence in the region today. And it rose to prominence in the early 19th century and fell at the end of the century. Therefore, we'll seek to find history of its rise and fall. So through all our empires, we'll seek a similar structure, the rise and fall, to perhaps see why it succeeded and reasons why it might fail, and take implications perhaps to modern states. So for some further background information, however, so the Zulu Kingdom, sometimes also referred to as, once again, the Zulu Empire or the Kingdom of Zululand, was a monarchy in southern Africa. During the 1810s, Shaka Zulu, who we'll highlight in a specific biography, established a standing army that consolidated rival clans and built a large following, which ruled a wide expanse in the South Africa region that extended from the coast of the Indian Ocean to the Tulega River in the south and the Pongola River in the north. So very many of the empires we covered, it's sort of these uniting figures who unite the tribes and then or the clans, different terms to refer to these groups in different empires over time, but similar sort of history to unite the groups and to come reign supreme over a region. As well, also a unique influence, and this time was also the establishment of a standing army, which allowed it to be better prepared and better positioned for expansion. So, as for the rise of the Zulu Empire, so before the rise of the Zulu Empire, the region was now known as KwaZulu-Natal, was inhabited by various Nguni-speaking tribes. The Zulu were one of three small clans led by a chieftain named Senzangakona. The clan's transformation into a powerful empire began under the leadership of his son Shaka Zulu, who we'll highlight in a specific biography to come. But for some brief background of his life, so from 1816 to 1828, Shaka Zulu became a powerful chief in 1816, so that's the period in which he reigned, and he is credited with transforming the Zulu clan into a dominant force. He implemented various military, social, and political reforms and revolutionized the Zulu society, so perhaps considered the founding figure of the Zulu Empire as well. As for military reforms, Shaka reorganized the army, creating a disciplined and efficient force. He introduced the Ikwa, which is a shorter stabbing spear, and a large oval-shaped shield that they're famous for. Shaka also established the bullhorn formation, an effective battle strategy. So in terms of equipment and in terms of strategy, in both ways he improved upon the empire to come. As for social and political changes, Shaka centralized power, consolidating smaller clans and tribes under Zulu control. He implemented a regional system, a regimental system based on age groups, which strengthened unity and loyalty within the military and society. So by segmenting the regiments based on age is also a way of perhaps protecting resources. For example, maybe they want to save the elderly in this case, or they want to save the youth or the younger people, or maybe they want to have those who are most fit going first, so they can basically, by dividing them by these ages, they have a lot more tools at their disposal than all being about equal in terms of that regards. As for expansion and dominance during this period. So under Shaka's rule, the Zulu Empire expanded rapidly through both diplomacy and conquest. Shaka's campaigns against neighboring tribes were often brutal, leading to significant territorial gains and displacement of many people. This period of upheaval was known as the Mfecane, or the Gifakane, and it reshaped the political landscape in southern Africa. As for peak and consolidation, so Shaka's assassination and successor. So in 1828, Shaka was assassinated by his half-brother Dingane and Malangana. Dingane assumed the throne, so his brother killed him and took his place, but his reign was marked by instability and challenges, so very common theme if one takes the throne by force, as we see in The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire by Gibbon. Once you sort of set that precedent, then if you assassinated somebody to get the throne, then you can't assume that one will endeavor to assassinate you. And therefore he continued Shaka's expansionist policies and faced internal dissent and external threats, including the increasing European encroachment, so this externality as well. As for conflict with European powers, so the Zulu Empire's encounters with European settlers, particularly the Boers and the British, became more frequent during this period. In 1838, the Zulu under Dingane clashed with the Boer trekkers, leading to the Battle of Blood River. Despite Zulu's numerical advantage, the Boer trekkers' superior firepower resulted in their defeat for the Zulu. So even with greater numbers, they could not succeed technologically. A great case study on this is Guns, Germs, and Steel, which asks the question, why was it the Europeans conquered the South Americans or Americans more broadly, indigenous peoples more broadly, and not vice versa? In part, it's because population density yielded more germs, but also more advantages in terms of steel and guns as well. As for Mapande and the Ketsaweo's reign, so Dingane was overthrown in 1840 by his brother Mapande, so once again setting this precedent, because he himself did this, who sought a more diplomatic approach to the Europeans. Mapandende's son Katshawega later became king as well and continued to modernize the Zulu military. Ketsaweo's reign saw a brief resurgence of Zulu power and prestige. So for the first time, the throne was not seized through killing one's brother, but actually through a hereditary manner, so maybe a more stronger claim to the throne, maybe less internal dissent. But then came the fall of the Zulu Empire, so starting with the Anglo-Zulu War in 1879. The British Empire sought to expand its influence in southern Africa, leading to the Anglo-Zulu War in 1879. The conflict was sparked by the British ultimatum demanding the disbandment of the Zulu military system, so forced to disband their standing army that Shaka Zulu had formed originally. Ketsaweos refused, however, resulting in war. The initial Zulu victories, however, ensued, and Zulu scored a major victory at the Battle of Isandlwana, where they annihilated the British column. However, they suffered a significant defeat at the Battle of Rorke's Drift, where a small British garrison held off a large Zulu force. So also these events where a smaller force is able to defeat larger forces also instills confidence throughout the broader army. As for British reinforcements and final defeat, so the British brought reinforcements including more troops and artillery. So even if things had been maintained in favor of the Zulu Empire in terms of population, more reinforcements kept coming as well from the British. The decisive Battle of Ulundi in July 1879 resulted in the crushing defeat for the Zulu, effectively ending the war and marking the collapse of the Zulu Empire. As for annexation and fragmentation, after the war the British divided the Zulu kingdom into 13 smaller chieftains, weakening Zulu unity and political power. Ketshaweo was captured and exiled later and allowed to return to rule as part of the former kingdom under British oversight, so really subordinated within the British Empire. However, his authority was greatly diminished and the internal conflicts further fragmented the Zulu nation. As for his final decline, the final blow to the Zulu independence came in 1887, when the British formally annexed the remaining Zulu territory, incorporating it as a colony of Natal. The once powerful Zulu Empire was reduced to a colonial territory with traditional structures eroded and significant political autonomy lost. Therefore, for the legacy of this important but relatively short-lived empire, the final blow to the Zulu independence came in 1887, when the British formally annexed the remaining territory, and the Zulu's empire, as for its legacy, its rise and its fall had a profound impact on the region's history and culture. The legacy of its military innovations, the resilience of its people, and the cultural pride of the Zulu nation endure to this day in this region. The history of the Zulu Empire continues to be a source of inspiration and identity for the Zulu people, and a significant chapter in the broader narrative of the South African history, and also the southernmost empire in Africa that we've covered. As for the specific leader, so for some further detail on the great Shaka Zulu. So the most important ruler, perhaps, or at least the most net successful ruler of the Zulu Empire, is widely considered to be King Shaka Zulu, or Shaka Zulu, commonly known as Shaka Zulu. His reign, characterized by military innovation, statecraft, and the unification of various Nguni tribes, played a pivotal role in the shaping of the history of southern Africa. So, further information. So, Shaka Zulu was born in approximately 1787 on the 24th of September, and died, on the 24th of September 1828. He's also known as Shaka Zulu. And Sigidi Kahona. He was the king of the Zulu kingdom from 1816 to 1828, and he's one of the most influential monarchs of the Zulu, and he ordered wide reaching reforms within and perhaps even formed the Zulu Empire that reorganized the military into a formidable force, allowing for its creation and its existence. So as for his early life and background, so Shaka was born in 1787 in present-day KwaZulu-Natal region of South Africa. He was the illegitimate son of Senga Sakahona, so a minor Zulu chief, so not even of the powerful within his family, but not even the most powerful family as well. And Nandi, a woman of the Lagani clan. His early life was marked by hardship and ostracism due to his illegitimacy. Shaka and his mother were expelled from their clan and lived in exile among the Mthawa people where he grew up. As for his rise to power, Shaka's rise began when he joined the army in Dingiswayo, the Mthawa's paramount chief, under whom he quickly distinguished himself as a warrior and leader. So often we see these great leaders to come, they sort of are under the wing of a great chief or even the leader. His military prowess caught the attention of Dingiswayo, who became his mentor as well. Shaka introduced significant reforms into the Mthawa military system even at this time, including the introduction of a short stabbing spear known as the Iklwa, and the development of a new battle formation like the Buffalo Horns formation. So very much impressing his mentor, but also learning in this regards as well. After the death of Senga Sakahona, Shaka returned to the Zulu tribe where he claimed leadership. With the support of Dingiswayo and military innovations, Shaka consolidated power in defeating his half-brother Singajwana, who had briefly assumed control of the Zulu clan, so defeating his half-brother and therefore becoming the leader of the clan. As for his reign and achievements, so Shaka became leader of the Zulu, what became the empire, in 1816. During his reign, he transformed the Zulu tribe from small clans into a formidable centralized kingdom. His military tactics and innovations led to the expansion of the empire, and he conquered neighboring tribes and assimilated them into the Zulu nation. So once again, a very uniting-like figure. Shaka's leadership was marked by both strategic diplomacy and ruthless military campaigns, which significantly altered the political landscape of southern Africa, so continuing his military prowess under his leadership. One of his most notable achievements was the unification of various Nguni tribes under the single Zulu identity, creating a powerful and cohesive state. Shaka also established a new social and administrative system, which included a centralized government and standardized taxation system. So, very common theme to increase taxation is a form of centralization, but it also necessarily implies there must be private enterprise to be taxed to begin with. One of the most notable achievements was also the uniting of the various Nguni tribes. So once again, a unifying figure. But as for his legacy and death, so Shaka's rule came to an abrupt end in 1828 when he was assassinated by his half-brothers Digane and Malangana, along with his bodyguard Mbopa. For reasons of the reasons of the assassination are believed to be a combination of political intrigue and dissatisfaction with Shaka's increasing erratic behavior following the death of his mother Nandi, so supposedly very attached to his mother, who is ostracized as well, like him, so sort of a common bond, not only a bond of blood, but nonetheless these half-brothers who did not share the same mother sort of did not share that same connection and sought to assassinate him. But he might have also started to decline in his sort of wisdom and sort of started to decline in his internal support within the empire as well, which might have sort of promoted these assassins to engage in this behavior. Furthermore, Shaka Zulu's legacy endures as one of the most influential figures in African history. His military strategies and state-building efforts laid the foundation for the Zulu nation's prominence. Therefore, we could even consider him the founder of the Zulu Empire as well. Despite the controversies surrounding his rule, Shaka remains a symbol of Zulu pride and cultural identity. It's a very, very famous leader that I've heard referenced even since a young age, and the Zulu Empire is also very famous for this reason. So as for the content of the slide, so the title we have is Shaka Zulu and the Zulu Empire, also known as the Zulu Kingdom or the Kingdom of Zululand. It was a monarchy in southern Africa along the coast of the Indian Ocean from the Pongola River in the north to the Tugela River, in the south. Additional information: significant leader was Shaka K. Sengazakona. Empire was Zulu Empire, period 1816 to 1897 CE, that's Common Era. Modern location was within South Africa. Million square kilometers, 0.21%, so a little bit smaller than our average empire. Largest empire side is 1.14, but we only included the largest to begin with. For example, the Athenian or Spartan empires would be 0.01, so much, much smaller than this, but nonetheless they're so extensively studied and so extensively documented. Million square miles would be 0.08 equivalent. Percent of the world would be 0.16, that's excluding Antarctica. Once again, 1 million square kilometers is more difficult to conquer in one region versus another region, so there were warring tribes here, so it wasn't like a empty plain that they merely conquered. Capital would be Bulawayo, later became Gangadaluvu, part of my pronunciation, and later Ulundi as well. The government was a monarchy. The common languages was isiZulu, which was the official language of the Zulu Empire. The religion was the Zulu religion, which in itself is worthy of much research as well. Population would be 250,000 to 500,000 approximately. That is quite a large population for the size of the area at the time, but technology has changed and now could support a larger population in this region. As for images, in the top left, we have an 1824 European artist's impression of Shaka with a long-throwing assegai and heavy shield. There are no drawings from the life are known, however, so this is the closest representation we can have of Shaka Zulu, but nonetheless very glorious-looking figure, at least according to this artist. To the right of that, we have King Dingane, a drawing by Alan Francis Gardner, a very famous drawer, and we can see maybe a relatively more accurate drawing of that leader and sort of the bright colors that he wore. To the right of that, we have an image manifesting the military innovations such as the assegai, which was the age grade regiment system, and encirclement tactics by Shaka Zulu to make the Zulu one of the most powerful clans in southern and southeastern Africa. So that age regimental system is a very effective method to sort of optimize resources. To the right of that, we have King Mapande, a drawing by George French Angas, another king, and sort of showing the appreciation their people show for them. I think of a fan as really a manifestation of worship, because you have to warm yourself up, or whoever's using the fan has to warm themselves up to cool the other person down. So it is really quite a form of respect or obedience. Below that, we have King Mapande. The Battle of Isandlwana, which is a very important battle in the history of the Zulu Empire, and a very tragic depiction we have here. And to the right of that, we have a photograph of King Ketsaweyo in approximately 1875, so an actual photograph of what this king looked like. Some further information. So history: the death of Dinga Soweyo was in 1818. The ascension of Shaka Zulu was in 1816. The Battle of Cokley Hill was in 1818. The Battle of Mahaladzutse was in 1820. The Battle of Blood River was in 1838. The Anglo-Zulu War was in 1879. It was part of the British Protectorate, or became a British Protectorate, in 1887, and of Natal and officially ended in 1897, became officially subsumed as a province of the British Empire, which we will cover soon. And in the top right, we have a map showing where the Zulu Empire, or the Kingdom of Zululand in South Africa, modern South Africa, would be. So that is the Shaka Zulu and the Zulu Empire, and we'll highlight the leader more in the comparison at the end. So as for the Sikh empires, the Sikh Empire, founded in the early 19th century in the Punjab region of the Indian subcontinent, was a significant political and military entity that marked the period of Sikh sovereignty. The empire's rise and fall are closely tied to the leadership of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, whom we will highlight in a specific biography, who played a central role in the expansion and consolidation of the empire, and to the subsequent political dynamics following his death for the continuation of the empire. But for some background information, so the Sikh Empire was a regional power based in the Punjab region of the Indian subcontinent. It existed from 1799, when Maharaja Ranjit Singh captured Lahore, to 1849, when it was defeated and conquered by the British East India Company in the Second Anglo-Sikh War. It was forged on the foundations of the Khalsa from a collection of anonymous mizils, which are once again tribes coming together, but mizils they are called. At its peak in the 19th century, the empire extended from Gilgit and Tibet in the north to the deserts of Sindh in the south, from the Khyber Pass in the west to the Sutlej in the east, and as far as Wood as well. It was divided into 4 provinces: Lahore, which became the Sikh capital, the Multan, Peshawar, and Kashmir from 1799 to 1849. Religiously diverse, with an estimated population of 4.5 million, or between 4 and 6 million even, in 1831, making it the 19th most populous country at the time. It was the last major region in the Indian subcontinent to be annexed by the British Empire as well, partly due to its relative northern location. So as for the rise of the Sikh Empire, so starting with the early Sikh Confederacy, we talk in the Federalist Papers, there's a difference between a confederation to a federation, where the latter is more centralized. Before the formation of the Sikh Empire, the region was fragmented into several semi-autonomous Sikh principalities known as mizils. These mizils were loosely unified under the Sikh Confederacy, it is called, a decentralized structure with a shared religious and cultural identity ruled in Sikhism. In the Federalist Papers, it's talked that even the leagues, for example, in ancient Greece, for example, even if they were united by a common religion, such as Delphi, or common enemies, such as the Persians, even that might not be sufficient without a full federation or union. The decline of the Mughal Empire, an important empire we've also highlighted, and the invasion of Ahmed Shah Durrani, also known as Ahmed Shah Abdali, in the 18th century, created a power vacuum in the region, where the Sikh mizils exploited to expand their territories and unite or expand through their confederacy. As for unification under Maharaja Ranjit Singh, so Maharaja Ranjit Singh was born in 1780 in Gujranwala, now in modern-day Pakistan, and he emerged as a unifying force in the Sikh Mizzles. So once again, a unifier of distinct groups or distinct parts of the Confederation. He became the leader of the Sukarachaki Mizzle at a young age and demonstrated exceptional military and leadership abilities. In 1799, he captured Lahore, which would later become the empire's capital, a significant city in the Punjab region, and in 1801 he proclaimed himself Maharaja of Punjab, marking the official formation of the Sikh Empire, and therefore we can consider him the founder of this empire as well. As for expansion and consolidation, Ranjit Singh's reign was characterized by a series of military campaigns that expanded the Sikh Empire's boundaries. He unified the Mizzles and subdued various regional powers, including the Afghans, the Gurkhas, and the local Muslim rulers who had for a long time been ruling in these regions. The empire expanded into the Sutlej River in the south to the Khyber Pass in the northwest and the Kashmir Valley in the north, and as well the Sindh region in the south, so expanding significantly from the original regions within the Mizzle of Ranjit Singh. Furthermore, the notable achievements during this period included the annexation of Jammu and Kashmir, Peshawar, and Multan. Ranjit Singh also modernized the Sikh military by incorporating European-style training, artillery, and cavalry units, hiring European officers even to train his troops, so learning much from this. So whereas many other groups were severely threatened by these particularly British colonies, they actually took advantage of it to rise above other Mizzles or other groups in this region. Therefore, furthermore, he modernized the Sikh Khalsa army into one of the most formidable forces in the region, and the administration under Ranjit Singh was efficient and tolerant, allowing for religious and cultural diversity, as we shall see a very diverse state, and India to this day remains a very diverse linguistic state, and also in many ways religiously too. Been fortunate to visit Rajasthan, Udaipur, and Jaipur, but not this region as well, so I can't necessarily speak for it today. He patronized, furthermore, various arts, built infrastructure, and maintained law and order. As for the decline and fall, however, of this Sikh empire, so post-Ranjit Singh era, so Maharaja Singh died in 1839, leaving behind a powerful but fragile empire. So combining so many different parts, as we've seen many of our great empires have, because they're trying to combine too many diverse groups, is often one of the reasons for their later fragmentation. And maybe it can be maintained under the founder, but perhaps that can't be certain under the continuation or their successors. This modernization this leaving behind a significant but fragile empire. His successors lacked his leadership qualities and were unable to maintain the unity and stability of the state, and therefore a series of weak rulers followed, and marked by court intrigues, perhaps taking advantage of the weak leaders, assassinations, and factionalism as well. The empire furthermore struggled with internal strife and lacked a coherent strategy to deal with the external threats, so perhaps they lost this great leader and one wasn't able to match his charisma. Then therefore came the First Anglo-Sikh War. So the British East India Company, which had been expanding in its influence in India, viewed the Sikh Empire as a significant threat. The power vacuum and instability of the Punjab region after Ranjit Singh's death furthermore provided the British with an opportunity to intervene. So perhaps while they've been on the sidelines, even been ostensibly training the military of the Sikh Empire, after the death of Ranjit Singh and sort of the intrigues within the court and the weaker leaders, they started to capitalize on this. And therefore the First Anglo-Sikh War broke out in 1845, fueled by mutual distrust and provocation. So it was mutual. The Sikh Empire also was distrusting of the British, and perhaps rightfully so. Despite the bravery of the Sikh soldiers, internal divisions and betrayals weakened their efforts, and the war ended in 1846 with the Treaty of Lahore, which significantly curtailed the Sikh territories and autonomy, and ceded valuable territories to the British. As for the Second Anglo-Sikh War, the Sikh Empire's weakened state and continued internal conflicts led to the Second Anglo-Sikh War in 1848. This time the British decisively defeated the Sikhs, and the fall of Multan and the defeat at the Battle of Gujarat in 1849. It marked the end of the Sikh Empire. So 1849 is our end date of this great Sikh Empire, the 19th most populous at the time in the world. The British annexed, therefore, Punjab, and the young Mujarat Duleep Singh, the last ruler of the empire, was deposed and exiled to Britain. So, sort of as we see in Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, for example, some great emperors, once they're conquered by another empire, can we still say the empire still exists? Perhaps yes, but in this case, this would mark the end of the empire. As for the legacies, the Sikh Empire's rise and fall had a profound impact on the history and culture of the region. It was the last major independent kingdom of the Indian subcontinent before the British colonization, which will become to be the largest empire in history. The empire's legacy endures as a cultural and religious identity in the Sikh community, and Maharaj Ranjit Singh remains a celebrated figure in the leadership in terms of his leadership and vision. The period of the Sikh Empire is remembered for its military prowess, administrative efficiency, and religious tolerance as well. Perhaps if it weren't for the British, they might still exist today. At the same time, part of their success was through training and using British military strategies, so perhaps they came to being because of the British, but also came to end because of the British. Or perhaps the British were just inevitable, and the empire would have gone through this trajectory regardless is also equally possible. As for the biography of Ranjit Singh, so the perhaps most important, or at least most successful ruler of the Sikh Empire is widely considered to be Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He was a visionary leader who united various Sikh mizils or confederacies into a powerful empire and transformed the Punjab region into a prosperous and formidable state. His leadership was marked by military prowess, administrative reforms, and religious tolerance. So, for some further background information, so Ranjit Singh was born on the 13th of November, 1780. I believe that makes him a Scorpio, if one believes in that. And he died on the 27th of June in 1839. He was the founder and the first Maharaja of the Sikh Empire, ruling from 1801 until his death in 1839, so a long reign of 38 years. He ruled the northwest Indian subcontinent in the early half of the 19th century, and he survived smallpox as well in infancy, but lost sight in his left eye, and he fought his first battle alongside his father at the age of 10, so an early life to have success and a long time period ruling. But further information on his early life and background. So Ranjit Singh, once again, was born on November 13th, 1780 in Gujranwala, which is in modern-day Pakistan. He was the only child of Maha Singh, the leader of the Sukarachaki Mizil, and Raj Kaur, also known as Mai Kawain. So he was the only child, so necessarily maybe the most successful in his own lineage, but maybe not the most powerful Mizil, but he would come to rule over the entire confederacy and form an empire regardless. Furthermore, he was named Ranjit, meaning victor in battle, which might be foreshadowing his life necessarily. He was at the age of 5. He contracted smallpox, which left him blind in one eye and with a pockmarked face. Despite these physical challenges, Ranjit Singh displayed exceptional courage and leadership skills from an early age. Perhaps by being faced close to death, maybe he was more courageous in battle. At the age of 12, following his father's death, Ranjit Singh became the leader of the Sukarachaki Mizil. Although young, he quickly demonstrated his capability defending his territory against external threats and internal challenges. So at the age of 12, already succeeding his father at quite a young age. As for his rise to power, so Ranjit Singh's rise to power began with the consolidation of the Sikh Mizils. In 1799, he captured Lahore, a significant city in Punjab, from the Bahang Mizil, marking a crucial step towards the goal of unifying the region. Furthermore, in 1801, he proclaimed himself Maharaja of Punjab and established the capital in Lahore, therefore forming our Sikh Empire and making him the founder of the empire. This marked the official founding of the Sikh Empire. As for his reign and achievements, so Maharaja Ranjit Singh his reign was from 1801 to 1839, was characterized by significant military and administrative achievements. For example, with his military and expansion and modernization, Ranjit Singh expanded the Sikh empire's boundaries through a series of military campaigns. He conquered territories in the north, including Jammu and Kashmir, and in the northwest, including Peshawar, and in the south, including Multan. His military was known for its discipline and efficiency, though thanks to in part through the European military officers employed to train his troops and modernize his army, so taking advantage perhaps of this emerging threat. As for his administrative reforms, Ranjit Singh implemented a centralized administrative system that improved governance and ensured stability. He established a network of officials to collect taxes, maintain law and order, and manage the empire's finances. So, once again, taxes is a form of centralization, but also necessarily implies there's private enterprise to be taxed. His rule was marked by an emphasis of meritocracy, as he appointed capable individuals regardless of their religion and background, so focused on meritocracy. Perhaps this was necessary because the state already was so diverse. As for religious tolerance and patronage, so despite being a devout Sikh, Ranjit Singh was known for his religious tolerance. He patronized Hindu temples, Sikh gurdwaras, and Muslim mosques as well, fostering a sense of unity amongst diverse religions. Maybe it was for his own merit, maybe it was necessary too, maybe if he did not do this there would have been uprisings, and therefore there was diverse religious communities thrived within his empire. He banned the slaughter of cows, which was a respecting the customs of different communities, and often consulted religious leaders, so often conforming and adopting the laws around the religions within the state. As for cultural and economic policy, under Ranjit Singh's rule, the Sikh empire experienced a cultural renaissance as well. He encouraged arts and architecture, and his court became a hub for poets, musicians, and scholars. The economy flourished due to improved infrastructure, trade, and agriculture. He also undertook significant public works projects, including the construction of forts, roads, and canals. So very multifaceted, not just being successful in military, but also in infrastructure, which also maybe helps the military as well. By having better roads, the military can more easily move around. As for personal traits and legacy, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, was known for his charismatic personality, diplomatic skills, and humility. He avoided ostentation and often dressed simply, even in his royal capacities, so humble in his dressing. His leadership style was inclusive, and he maintained a council of advisors from various backgrounds, so a meritocratic court. Ranjit Singh's death on June 27, 1839, marked the beginning of the decline of the Sikh Empire, so other leaders after him were not able to match him in success. His successors lacked his unifying presence and administrative acumen, leading to internal strife and eventually the empire's annexation by the British East India Company in 1849. Despite the empire's eventual fall, Maharaja Ranjit Singh remains a revered figure in the Indian history. He is remembered as a great leader who brought peace and prosperity to the Punjab and left an enduring legacy of unity, religious tolerance, and cultural enrichment. His statue in Lahore, among other monuments, stands as a testament of his enduring influence. So, very, very great leader, and for the former of the empire, and perhaps if the other leaders were more like him, maybe the Sikh Empire might have lasted longer as well. Therefore, despite the empire's eventual fall, Maharaja remains a revered figure in Indian history. He is remembered as a great leader who brought peace and prosperity, and therefore is considered the most important, at least, leader of the Sikh Empire. So, as for the content of the slide, so the title we have is Ranjit Singh and the Sikh Empire. It was a regional power based in the Punjab region of the Indian subcontinent. It was divided into 4 provinces: Lahore, Multan, Peshawar, and Kashmir. Significant leader we highlighted was Maharaja Ranjit Singh. The empire was the Sikh Empire. Period was from 1799 to 1849 CE Common Era. Modern locations include India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. Million square kilometers would be 0.52, so smaller than our average largest empire, but we only cover the largest empires, and once again Athens and Sparta were 0.01, so that's in terms of This is much, much larger, although perhaps less discussed, at least in Western educational systems, but nonetheless much, much larger. Million square miles equivalent would be 0.2, and percent of the world would be 0.39%, excluding Antarctica. Once again, it's a very, very difficult region to rule over. This Indian subcontinent has had states from the Indus Valley civilization, some of our earliest civilizations, so to conquer this very deeply rooted societies would be very, very challenging relative to some lesser developed areas. Capital was Gujranwala from 1799 to 1802, and Lahore from 1802 to 1849. The government was a federal monarchy, so becoming a difference between a federation and confederation can be discussed as well in that context. Common languages was Persian was actually the official language, but Punjabi and other regional languages, many languages, anything of the Indian state today is it's very, very linguistically diverse, and this was true at this time as well. Religion was predominantly Islam, 80%. Hinduism was 10%. Sikhism, which was the official religion, was from 9 to 10%. Buddhism, Judaism, and others were about 1%. So perhaps the religious tolerance of Ranjit Singh was necessary because Sikhism was not the majority religion. If he did not attempt to appease Islam, for example, maybe they might have even overthrown the Sikh Empire. Population was estimated 4.5 specifically, but also between 4 and 6 million. As for images, in the top left we have what's known as a company school portrait of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, produced in Lucknow, Adwa, in approximately 1810 or 1820, between those periods. So these company schools are pretty fascinating. They're these schools of European schools in some cases, the British India Company or trading companies, and they produce arts, and also fusing the arts of the region, but also from the European styles as well. So interesting cases. We can see this is we discussed Ranjit Singh wore more humble clothes, so this might even be more indicative of what other nobility might have worn as well in the Sikh Empire to some extent. To the right of that we have the flag of the Sikh Empire, and below that we have the seal of Ranjit Singh. To the right of that we have a detail from the Darbar Royal Court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, produced by Gauche, in 1850. Below that we have Maharaja Ranjit Singh seeking sanctuary from Guru Nanak from 1830, showing the Sikh influence, but also the piety of this leader who is not only a great conqueror, but also an unifier, but also religiously inclined and religiously tolerant as well. As for the state was preceded by the Kangra state, the Durrani Empire, the Sikh Confederacy, the Sile dynasty, the Magpon dynasty, the Namgyal dynasty. It was succeeded by the Punjab province, British India, Jammu Kashmir as a princely state. Here we have a map of India in 1805, and the Sikh Empire would be right here. So close to Nepal, for example, we can see the large Islamic influence by being close to that region as well. And perhaps they were the last state to be conquered by, to remain from the European threats, was because their region is further from the coast and perhaps further north, perhaps. So that is the Ranjit Singh and the Sikh Empire. As for a comparison between the two leaders, so Shaka Zulu and Maharaja Ranjit Singh were both pivotal figures in their respective regions and cultures, leading the Zulu Empire in South Africa and the Sikh Empire in the Indian subcontinent, respectively. Despite operating in different geographical, cultural, and historical conflicts, they share similarities in their leadership styles and accomplishments, while exhibiting notable differences, as we shall also highlight. So starting with some similarities, so with their military innovations and expansion. So Shaka Zulu was a military genius who revolutionized warfare for the Zulu. He introduced the short stabbing spear, known as the Iklawa, which replaced the traditional long throwing spear, and implemented the buffalo horns formation to encircle and overwhelm enemies. His tactics transformed the Zulu military into a highly efficient and formidable force, enabling the expansion of the Zulu Empire by conquering and unifying various tribes. As for Ranjit Singh, similarly, Ranjit Singh was a skilled military leader who expanded the Sikh Empire through a series of successful campaigns. He modernized the Sikh Khalsa army by adopting European military techniques, artillery training. Furthermore, Ranjit Singh's forces conquered territories such as Kashmir, Peshawar, and Multan, significantly expanding the empire's reach. So both of them are very maybe Shaka Zulu was maybe more focused on military technology, whereas Maharaja Ranjit Singh was more focused on adopting European advantages, sort of different ways to both have both their great successes and both being founders as well of empires. Furthermore, as for their centralization and unification, Shaka Zulu played a significant role in unifying disparate Nguni tribes under the centralized Zulu state. His leadership consolidated various clans, contributing to a cohesive and centralized political entity, and became a very powerful regional force, which seems to be a common theme across almost all the great leaders that we covered, to, or at least the founders, to unite groups and then sort of focus on centralization, at least during the formation periods of the empire, and often lack of centralization as a reason for their declines. As for Ranjit Singh similarly unified the Sikh Mizils, which were previously independent and often at odds with each other. He centralized the administration, established a strong governance system, and crafted a unified Sikh state that was able to maintain internal stability and external strength. So both unifying figures. As for their charismatic leadership and legacy, both leaders are remembered for their charismatic leadership. Shaka and Ranjit Singh inspire loyalty and respect among their followers, and their legacies endure as symbols of their respective cultures and histories. Furthermore, they are both celebrated as nation builders and left lasting impacts on their societies. But as for some differences, starting with their cultural and religious context, Shaka Zulu reign was rooted in the traditional Zulu culture and customs. He was emphasized warrior ethos and centralized authority. His rule did not emphasize religious inclusivity in the same way Ranjit Singh's, and the Zulu society was relatively homogeneous in terms of cultural and religious practices. So, could Ranjit Singh have been successful in a more homogeneous state, like is the Zulu Empire, or could Shaka Zulu have been able to form a state in a more heterogeneous state? It's impossible to say, but they're two very different contexts that must be noted. But both of them were successful in their two respective regions. Also, not only culturally different, but also religiously diverse, that being the Sikh Empire. And therefore also something maybe that would have been difficult for Ranjit Singh, as they didn't come from the majority religion. 80% of the population was Islam, so perhaps that might have made things more difficult, but also maybe it might have had its own advantages as well. Furthermore, Ranjit Singh's reign was characterized by religious tolerance and inclusivity. Although a devout Sikh, he patronized Hindu temples and Muslim mosques, and the court included advisors and officials from various religious backgrounds. This inclusive approach helped maintain harmony in a diverse Punjab region. As for their administrative and governance styles, so Shaka Zulu's governance was largely based on a traditional tribe structure, which with a strong emphasis on military organization and discipline, may be seen as some ways analogous to the Spartan Empire, as we covered. Furthermore, he ruled with a centralized authority, often using force to maintain order and loyalty, whereas Ranjit Singh established a more formal organizational administrative system with a bureaucracy including officials responsible for various aspects of governance such as finance, justice, and military affairs, and also meritocratic, not just taking, for example, the 10% or even 9% of the population that was Sikh, but taking advantage of the 80% that Muslim, for example. His rule was marked by a force of efficient administration and merit-based appointments, so very different, maybe even seen as analogous to Sparta and Athens, maybe. But then again, Athens was in many ways not as meritocratic, so maybe only the connection is true in Sparta and Zulu, but maybe not true that the Sikh Empire was like Athens, because the Sikh Empire was notably more diverse, but Athens was relatively more diverse than other states, but distinctly had one group of people, but also it was maybe more meritocratic than other Greek states, but maybe not as meritocratic as the Sikh Empire. Furthermore, their historical and geographical context. So Shaka Zulu operated within the context of the pre-colonial South Africa, where his primary interactions were between local tribes and occasionally with European traders and settlers. His expansion and consolidation efforts were largely focused on unifying Zulu and neighboring states, so less of a threat from the Europeans. As for Ranjit Singh's reign occurred during the time of significant British colonial expansion in India. He managed to maintain independence with the Sikh Empire, maybe even taking advantage of this British colonial empire for a time, though through diplomacy and military strength, so knowing how to use the carrot and the stick, navigating complex relationships with neighboring states and the British East India Company, so perhaps even allowing it to create the state, but also foreshadowing its eventual decline. But once again, the British and the colonial powers would also cause a severe blow to the Zulu Empire as well. As for the end of their reigns and legacy, so Shaka Zulu's reign ended with the assassination in 1828 by his half-brothers. His death led to a period of instability and eventually the decline of the Zulu Empire under subsequent rulers. As for Ranjit Singh, his death was in 1839 and also led, 11 years later, to a period of instability. However, the Sikh Empire's decline was more gradual, culminating in the British annexation of Punjab in 1849. Despite this, Ranjit Singh's legacy as a unifier and builder of a prosperous state remains strong. So both of them, their successors, were not as successful, but it was maybe a quicker drop-off for Shaka Zulu than for Maharaja Ranjit Singh, maybe more gradual as the British slowly came to encroach upon their states. But both of them, their successors, never seemed to match them. And both of them were founders of states, which isn't necessarily true for all of our most important leaders. So thank you very much for watching and or listening to this episode of Ages of Empires number 66. My name is Kaylin Ashcroft. This is Cashcroft TV. We covered the Zulu Empire and Shaka Zulu, and as well the Sikh Empire and Ranjit Singh. I'd be very grateful if you continue to support. Thank you so much.